and they still had the blood pressure cuff on me. And so my blood pressure was normal on the way there, normal when I first got diagnosed. But as they transferred me from one bed to another, my blood pressure was like 40 over, I don't even know what. And basically, I was about to die. And so all I remember was seeing white lights. I didn't hear I didn't hear nobody calling my name. I didn't see Jesus, and my wife at the time, she was in the room and she just said like 15 doctors rushed in, and I don't really remember much. Kind of the look on my wife's face was like, almost like she was at a funeral, and I kind of looked at her and asked her like, what's up? Like, why are you looking like that? And she was like, because you almost died. And I said, what? So I feel like my journey, because again, I've been saved since 2009, and, it's 2023. So I've been saved for a while. I feel like this is a daily walk, and I feel like what Jesus healed me from, number one, I think one of the biggest things is unforgiveness. Because I feel like God strategically placed people in my life throughout my journey to help me to heal from different things. And so the first thing that I kind of dealt with, because I think when I first went to counseling a long time ago when I was 16, the first thing that we dealt with was my childhood. And I feel like every counselor since then has kind of been strategically placed in my life from God to help me heal from different, parts of my life. So I think, initially my childhood, being able to forgive the person that abused me, being able to be in the same room as the person that abused me. And I have since 2009, God has really given me, I guess, softened my heart, and it really healed me to forgive. And I think that when people hear, what did Jesus heal you from? We think of the man on the side of the pool, looking for healing, the man that's lame, sleeping on a bed, we're looking at the woman with the issue of blood. And I think that sometimes we can get so caught up in the physical healing, the physical manifestation of healing, that we sometimes negate that Jesus heals our heart. Jesus heals our emotions, our will, our mind. And so I think the first thing was just unforgiveness and being able to forgive my dad, being able to forgive my mom. The second thing was once I started to learn about God's love and how much he loves me and that he will never leave me nor forsake me, I was able to forgive myself, which was a big thing. I think that was probably forgiving myself, because even though I'm a new creation, I still remember some of the old things that I've done, some of the people that I've hurt, some of the people that I've hurt and still to this day haven't seen or heard from and may never see. And really having to deal with that, I think was a big thing. And then to kind of fast forward, I feel like those are like emotional things, my heart, my spirit, my soul. But physically, in 2020, December 31st of 2019, I had lost a bunch of weight and I had extra skin. And so I told myself I've always been really, really big, because one of the things that I struggled with throughout my childhood and up until probably, again, 2019, was overeating. And so because I carried so much spiritual baggage around with me, it showed in how I carried myself. So I was extremely overweight. The heaviest I've ever been was probably like 240 ish pounds. I'm 5'9", so I'm not like super, super tall. And it showed. And so about 2018, after some counseling, I was able to rid myself of a lot. And so because of that spiritual healing, I was able to then tell myself that I no longer needed food to validate my feelings. And so for a year, I had a trainer and I really focused on um, eating to sustain my body, but not eating to just be satisfied, and not always just whatever my cravings were, not really just giving in all the time. And so 2019 was a year where I lost a lot of weight and I was good. And so at the end of 2019, I decided to have skin removal surgery. I did a little bit of research. This is God's grace. I did a little bit of research, and there was a bunch of people that said, "Hey, you really should have like blood work done before you have major surgery." I didn't do that. I was super excited. I'm like, "Hey, I was able to keep this weight off. This is my treat to myself." A part of that journey was learning that even though I looked better and felt better, and that God was healing me, I think as I started to look better, I started to get a little bit more prideful because I cared about the extra skin so much to where I was trying to rush the process. It was like the middle of December where I had my first consultation, and by the end of December, 2 or 3 weeks later, here I am having this surgery, and it was a major surgery. Um, it's like having a C-section, but the scar is way longer. And basically, it was from one hip to another. They took skin, they tightened my muscles, and so it was major. So January comes. I'm not in much pain. It was January 6th of 2020. We went to a basketball game that night, and I was hurting a little bit, but nothing major. And I'll never forget later on that night, about 2 o'clock in the morning, I was breathing and I just kept having this really, really sharp pain. So much to the point to where I almost couldn't walk. So, wake my wife up. We go to, wake my mom up. At this time, my mom is living with me, and say, "Hey, can you watch the kids? We need to go to the hospital." So go to the hospital. Um, and find out that I have multiple blood clots and pneumonia. And so I didn't really start feeling the pain until after they diagnosed me. And so it was like immediately after they diagnosed me, the pain got, 10 times worse, transferred me over to a like big hospital because I went to kind of like a urgent care. Um, and I'll never forget when they took me off of the gurney and was putting me onto the hospital bed. All I remember is feeling extremely hot, extremely cold. My whole entire body started to sweat, and they still had the blood pressure cuff on me. And so my blood pressure was normal on the way there, normal when I first got diagnosed. But as they transferred me from one bed to another, my blood pressure was like 40 over, I don't even know what. Um, and basically, I was about to die. And so all I remember was seeing white lights. I didn't hear I didn't hear nobody call my name. I didn't see Jesus. Now that I think back on it, I kind of laugh and chuckle because I'm like, okay, where was I? Where was I at? Was I in the middle? Like, where was I? Um, and my wife at the time, she was in the room and she just said like 15 doctors rushed in. And I don't really remember much other than kind of waking up and feeling sore, still having the chest pain. And kind of the look on my wife's face was like almost like she was at a funeral, and I kind of looked at her and asked her, like, "What's up? Like, why are you looking like that?" And she was like, "Because you almost died." And I said, "What?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I said, wow, okay, you know, um, and not really at the moment. I think I was in such pain that I really didn't. It really didn't comprehend that Jesus had healed me, and that everything that I had been taught, everything that you know, I said I stood for, um, that it actually like manifests. Like, okay, yeah, God healed me emotionally, but when it was like when that physical healing happened, I think it was the moment that I realized that prayer works, that His word is true. Um, Not that I didn't believe, because I think I did, but I think I just had a greater um, I don't even know what the word is. It was just a
It's like you had head knowledge, but before the thing had head knowledge, but now you had experience knowledge. Like you went through the thing and you saw that God is true, that God is still a healer. Because you read about it and you hear about it, but when you go through it, you're like, oh, this God is for real.
absolute. I think um, everybody wants. There's so many. There's so many gods, right? Little g. There's so many idols. There's so many different religions and so many different ways that people can go. And I think for me, that moment in 2020 um, was something that I physically experienced myself. And so when people ask me, they're like, why do you believe in that God? Why do you believe in Jesus? And so I think that it just gives me a greater depth to be able to say, yes, I got saved in 2009 and still acting crazy and still trying to get sanctified in that process. And yeah, God healed me along the way emotionally and, that kind of thing. But I have a video that people can watch. Like, I was extremely pale. My wife actually took a picture, and I can send it to you, but I have a picture of right after everything happened and I was laying in the bed and I looked dead. I looked like I just, I mean, if someone shared it, it just looks like I'm just there, you know. And so I'm really extremely grateful to have gone through that and to be able to share it every day, every chance that I get. And, I talk to people about not just the emotional and mental and, healing that can take place inside, but how, hey, if you're dealing with this physical ailment, just because the doctor says this does not mean that they have the final say. God has the final say. And you can cry out to Jesus and you can cry out to God, and, they will heal you physically. So, yeah.
Thank you for watching this video. If you want more content, subscribe over here and watch the next video over there. God bless you.